Okay, as we were gonna hop in today, a little bit delayed. Looks like some of the players had some traffic issues getting their way over to the game, but we are gonna hop into the game straightforward now. As again, it's Stu and Who for another legendary duo cast. We'll have to see how it goes for today. And this game does have a lot of prominence for both of these teams. Damnation and World Enders both sitting at, I believe it's a 2-2 standing currently. So really these games can help shape up, if they do happen to have a tragic week and both of these teams go 0-2 or one of them goes 0-2, then they are lined up with JJT and they'll have to potentially fight for their placement in that sixth place spot. And then if they do happen to place well and one of these teams goes 2-0, they'll be up next to ABD. So we'll have to see how these games turns out, as this is definitely an important one for them to win.
Yeah, most of the playoffs kind of like we have a general idea of what teams are going to make it, but just the seeding, which is could be very important. That's pretty much left to the side. The first top two seeds are locked in, but like you said, ABD, WE, DN, and then JJT are kind of all could potentially end up anywhere in the next few games.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that we're gonna have to keep the watch out for. As we did see two bans coming out from Dab Nation, they're gonna ban away the Rengar and the Nocturne. The jungler of Wordlanders having a lot of success on top of that. Rengar almost taking down GME, but unfortunately wasn't able to get it. But still, such a strong performance is gonna warrant a ban taken away. As you can see, Wordlanders responding with a Yone ban targeting towards Rel, which is Dab Nation's mid laner, and the Wukong instant picked away.
They
Is
did leave
he
the Wukong up.
Yeah, Issy was saying that maybe he might play Wukong this game, and it looks like Damnation are just not going to take the chances. They'll just snipe it away B1.
Yeah, it could be that they purposely just left that up. I don't know if Worlanders really expected this to happen. Is he was saying he wanted to pick the Wukong, and I think he was serious about it. So, um, maybe they did expect this, and they should definitely draft around. The Leona is a strong pick into the Wukong, so we'll see what that can be done. And with the Diana as well, a lot of lockdown coming in straight away from the side of Worldenders.
Yeah, and Leona and Diana is definitely something that, matters a lot in the lore, especially, but a lot in this game, as Leona can provide so much CC that allows Diana to get those big 3, 4, 5 man ultimates. And Diana is a little bit of a mechanical champion. It tends to be pretty easy to just Q and E and then get a nice little 2 man ultimate. But with the flash enabled, with some extra tricks that the Diana could pick up, we could see a very mechanical playset coming out, as Crimson will answer with Xin Zhao, something he's been very comfortable on and kind of did a name for himself on when he was climbing solo queue. Looks like he opted away from the shake of this game, unfortunately, but he's going to be able to pick up the Xin Zhao, another strong pick, as Damnation here have their last pick. Looks like they're going to opt towards this Jinx pick, a nice little hyper carry. They do have the front line to kind of help her and provide the distance for her to do her damage, and they are going to pick her up. And we'll have to see how Woodlanders want to respond.
Yeah, obviously they want to take the mid in the jungle, or sorry, the mid in the support, which is pretty standard in the second rotation. So taking that strong, solid laner, good late game and Jinx is a good pick there. I probably will see also the AD pick here now that we've seen the AD carry pick on the side of Dab Nation, but they could kind of go off the board. Yeah, they do go off the board. They take the Mordekaiser in the first rotation. Obviously, thinking that matchup against the Wukong, they like, they potentially maybe like that. And then we'll see what bands come out here now.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be on Wardlanders to ban away a lot more of the compatible supports with Jinx. You really don't want to give her an Enchantress like Lulu. Lulu Jinx just being so obnoxious in lane and outside of it that they really need to take one of these champions away at least, as they're going to opt away for the Orianna ban. Again, targeting Rao, making sure that he's not going to have any comfortable champions, and Wukong and Orianna having such a strong synergy, excuse me, as well as the Xin Zhao. It is something that they are going to be taking away as Damnation here, sitting on their fourth ban. Not exactly sure what they want to ban yet. We'll have to see what they're looking to take away. And it will be the Samira. It's a nice little takeaway if you're concerned about the AD carry potentially putting on a carry performance. Samira, all she really needs is people to go in and dive with her so that way she doesn't just get focused down. And Leona and Diana do exactly that. So that is something that they are going to take away, as Warden is here sitting on their last ban. Considering what they're going to ban away, I would highly suggest they should ban away some kind of support that goes away with Jinx, but we'll have to see what they choose. At 0
Yeah, the
seconds
Thresh
left.
ban could come in. The Lulu, also a
Yep.
really good ban, strong pick. You definitely don't want the Mordekaiser or the Leona or the Diana for that matter to just get polymorphed repeatedly in these fights. So good ban coming out on that side. A Thresh would have been also a pretty decent ban. We've seen, I think, Rocket on it twice this season, if I remember correctly. So Good ban. Either way, good ban. See what Dab Nation decide to ban out last.
Now, looks like it will be the Zaya. Zaya, a little bit of a comfort champion for World Ender 80 carry, so they're just trying to put him onto something that's a little bit less comfortable for him. As importantly enough, I think we sort of skimmed over in the intro, but we did actually see the Ezreal banned away, and Ezreal being the highest pick rate champion in KDL, the stats coming out with a 14 pick rate and an 80%, or 14 games picked and an 80% pick rate, and that's not including bans, so it could be close to 100% pick ban, as it is going to be banned away this game. We're going to see the Tristana picked up instead. A little bit of a less seen champion, but definitely one that one-hitters could have a lot of success on.
Yeah, obviously Tristana coming here, very strong late game. Obviously, we saw what Tristana could do yesterday in the ABD game when she was just doing an immense amount of damage and maybe not carried the game, but like carried a lot of the fights at the end. Another strong, interesting pick here. We got the Jax coming out. Might be a placeholder,
It
or it
may
could
be.
end up being one of these guys in the mid lane.
No, I've
Let
not
me
seen
let's
any messages come out, so it is Jack. I would assume that means that it is going to be Wukong in the mid lane, just Rao taking Issy's champion straight to him in the mid lane. As like you were talking about, Rocket's Thresh is a nice little comfort champion for him. He's going to pick it up inside of this game.
Yeah, this definitely gets quite interesting now. We'll see. Wukong has been played in the mid lane before. It's not, something completely unusual. And now we might be getting a little bit more unusual if this Garen gets locked in.
Yeah, I mean, Mordekaiser has seen some gameplay in mid when he did get first release. It's mostly been the top lane meta for him, though. But either of these champions theoretically could go mid or top, so it's going to be interesting to see where they line up. But Damnation here had a little bit of a blunder in the champ select. They don't really have any magic damage and are just strictly relying on top of just this physical damage from for their champions. It will be interesting to see how they're going to be able to shape up as against champions like Garen and Leona who can stack the armor and have a lot of anti-tank in their kit. It is going to, or excuse me, anti-physical damage in their kit. It's going to be very hard for them to put pressure on top of these characters. So I'll have to see how Damnation look to tackle it, whereas World Enders here have a very nice composition. It's very well rounded. They've got a nice kind of pseudo frontline with this Leona, with this Garen. The only thing that's going to be an issue for them is range, and we'll have to see how it goes for them. As it looks like that we do see Wukong in the mid lane versus Mordekaiser in the mid lane. I don't think this is something that people see too much, but we'll have to see how this game shakes up as we are going to now get into the 3-minute spectator delay. Don't go anywhere. You are watching the KDL.
There's no time for redemption. Those flags you wave, will they hold up? Don't cry for your vengeance. It's right there to take. Oh, if you want it, the world is watching. judgment. Here's your reckoning. So go and bring home the glory alive. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. Write your story down. There's some history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive.
As we are going to go ahead and load into the game now, welcoming you guys back from that 3-minute spectator delay. We're just going to go ahead and hold on this team versus team screen before we get in, just so that we can make sure everything is working all fine and dandy. But it's definitely, some interesting questions that were raised in the channel select that it looks like Damnation will have to kind of find some answers to, as we are going to see this game just continue to load in. Riot's client once again welcoming us with a long load screen. As we do have, some interesting questions that are posed by this game. Depending on who wins this game, we'll have to see how the standings shake up and how these teams are going forward. As we have loaded in, I will go ahead and switch us over. Warlanders here facing the Akatsuki later today as well, so this is a little 2-game day for them, and Dab Nation facing the Akatsuki as well. So it will be interesting to see how both of these teams shake up. This win could be important for either team.
Yeah, as we see the Jinx opting to take the cleanse, obviously smart into a lane with a Leona, potentially even escaping some other CC on this team. We'll see if she's able to utilize it. We've seen a little bit in the KDL when some of the ADCs have taken cleanse, they've used it thinking it is heal. Because I'm sure not many people are used to taking cleanse in solo queue. So hopefully the Jinx will be able to put it to good use. We see a kind of standard little 5-point coming out here. Doesn't look like anyone's gonna try to invade level 1.
Yeah, and this is pretty common from both of these teams. Now, these teams really opting to go for any kind of crazy strategy level 1. They usually just go for this sort of 5-point style. Make sure no one's going to go for an invade. You can see some nice early vision coming out from World Enders here in the river on the bot side, trying to track Crimson, making sure that Crimson is not going to be able to get some kind of sneaky invade and potentially punish this Diana, as Diana does have a little bit of a weaker early game. Standing as an AP jungler, you're just not going to be as strong as an AD jungler going early in. I see Diana here opting to stop the tarts. I just had a complete miss of words. Opting to start in the top side. Going for the pings as, oh my god, the ward's coming out from pretty much all 5 members of World Enders. They're going to have a complete just vision control on their jungle, making sure that Krem is not going to be able to start, as Crimson as well is starting the top side. He's going to start leashless, so he's going to be a little bit slower. Whereas Diana will get this nice leash from this Garen, and we'll have to see how both these junglers are pathing. They both start on this top side, so they are both looking to potentially fight at that bot crab level 3.
Yeah, but I think both bot laners faked the leash. So obviously on the side of Rolanders, the Garen did actually leash. So they will know that the Diana started on the top side. Might see a little fight here for the scuttle. In come 3 minutes time here in the bottom lane though.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that we could potentially see as the level 1 for all of these characters. Not going too crazy self-wide. The top lane not farming as well as the rest of the lanes, but they'll catch back up. As Rao here has the level 2, is going to be punishing Issy, who wants this fight. And it looks like it was a nice little fight there for Issy, able to get a nice little equal trade and maybe even favor him a little bit. As the level 2 for this bot lane could potentially come out. The melee is getting taken for both of these champions, and not a fight breaking out just yet.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We pretty much have 2 top lane matchups going on here: the Wukong, the Mord, and then the Garen Jax. A nice little trade from Missy, like you said earlier. He had his little circle thingy up and was able to do a lot of damage to the Wukong. This matchup does tend to, some people say, go the Mordekaiser's way. He does have some good trades, and especially when he ults, the Wukong's W is a little bit neutralized. So we'll see how both these guys end up playing this matchup.
Yeah, and with this matchup, it really does depend on top of the Mordekaiser to execute it well. If he's able to hit the isolated Q on top of this Wukong, it can be such a benefit to him, and it really would allow him to win the matchup. As you can see, Crab here is spawning in just under 5 seconds. Both of these junglers here going for a nice little clear. Because of the leash, Diana is able to do her Gromp, able to do all 6 camps, whereas Xin Zhao has opted to just skip 2 camps and is immediately on top of the crab, and it looks like he's going to get this pretty much no contest. Diana here just being none the wiser. As you can see the pings coming out, we could see a fight potentially looking to break out. The Chompers come out from Jinx, but not able to stun anyone up as both of these teams will back away, and Krim can go back and farm his 2 other camps. As it looks like he's going to decide against that and try and double crab this Diana right now.
Yeah, it looks like a very smart play from DN here. They ended up skipping 2 camps. They got the crab, but we might actually have a gank here from the Diana. The Wukong looks like he will be able to get out here through his W. Not pretty hard lane to gank, as Crimson will double crab this. He will be quite ahead. First blood, the director,
the camera.
The camera.
Director Kara wants to get showing his strength. You know, a nice little play there from Jax. I'm sure we'll be able to catch it later as he's going to accelerate his lead. But Crimson's getting a nice lead for himself as well. The double crab, and he's going to be able to farm up these 2 camps. It is going to put his back timer a little bit awkward, where Diana could have reset and looked to fight. As speaking of fighting, Leona goes in, maybe not expecting she would hit that Q, as the W from Jinx just goes completely sideways. And that is going to mean that, or excuse me, Dab Nation here are going to be able to just pick up this wave.
Yeah, I wonder if the Garen tried to dive the Jax. It looks like he was pushed in all the way, and he did use the Ignite. It may have been a failed dive, or he could have gotten caught under tower or something of the sort. You see Crimson here going for the gank. The Diana is there. This will be a 2v2 in a second here if they decide to chase this.
Ooh, and nice little pull there from Wukong as the flashes come out from both of these members. But Rao here just not dying, making good use of the W. It's Crimson versus Diana in a 1v1, and it looks like Crimson will pull out on top the double crab and the double kill going his way.
Yeah, obviously Xin Zhao is probably potentially the best skirmisher right now in the jungle. While Diana is kind of strong, she does tend to be stronger when she's 6, and she was not level 6 there. And you don't want to take a fight early on there with the Xin Zhao like that.
Yeah, and Crimson here has still yet to back, is just clearing out his wolves, trying to reset his timers, make them look better. He's probably telling his bot laners to take his Krugs to reset the timer, so that way they can be at a higher level when he does come back. But it looks like he's going to take this Prompanu almost assuredly back after this. And that's going to mean a nice little advantage for him. Coming back from this, the dragon is up. We do have the Rift Tower spawning in 2 minutes, and we'll have to see what Crimson prioritizes as he comes back into this jungle. As he's not even leaving, he says, you know what, 2 kills, that's not enough. I want 3, as he is going to pop into this top side here. He is sitting in the bush, trying to see if Garen will go on top of Jax as the fight is coming out. Jax are taking a tower shot, and it looks like Crimson is finally going to back.
Yeah, as we see, the side of DN did have a little bit of a weird back timer. They didn't push the wave fully before backing, thinking maybe Diana was around or they weren't safe to do so. So they did lose, I think, a wave and maybe a little more there in the bot lane. But obviously, the CS is not that big of a difference here. In the top lane, we do see a 41 to 27 CS lead, and it's even worse for the Garen considering he doesn't have TP. So once the Jax's TP comes up, we might see a dragon fight, which will pretty much be free unless the Garen decides to walk down and lose a lot of his wave. A little bit of engage here on the Thresh that was caught out. She's gonna go down. The Jinx E is not able to help him. We're gonna see a continued fight as Wukong goes in with the double ulti. Everyone looks like they are gonna flash away, but the Mordekaiser will be caught out at the end of this fight.
What? Oh, it's just a super confusing fight from Warlanders there. As they got the first pick, they were able to just clean up Thresh, absolutely obliterate him. Didn't even have to use that much on him. But then Mordekaiser comes down, they have the 4v3, and they start running away, just too scared of Crimson. And then that allows pretty much Dab Nation to just get away with a robbery, able to take this dragon, able to get a kill, and then it's just Crimson just further accelerated.
Yeah, really confusing. Crimson obviously is 3-0, has the longsword, has the ruby crystal, and his little and the whip. So, obviously I can understand why they might be a bit hesitant, but they seem kind of split on if they wanted to continue fighting or if they wanted to leave. Some members flashed, the Mordekaiser stayed. And I think they would have been better off just fully committing to that fight.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that they're probably going to add another 10 minutes to VOD review there, as both of these teams here definitely do have, the will to win. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to execute it on the Rift, as right now it looks like Dab Nation are pulling ahead just a 1k gold diff right now, which is fairly sizable at this point in the game, but not something that Void Hunters could not come away from, as Jax here showing his lead over this Garen, able to just pretty much half HP him with just his starting items so far.
Yeah, we can see already the kind of one disadvantage of Dab Nation's comp being all AD. We see the armor first items coming in from 2 members, the Mordekaiser and the Garen. They're probably looking to be just completely stacking that armor, but that will kind of pose the question, if they decide to prioritize kind of more tanky-ish comps, you know, they're the only person doing damage really will be the the Tristana. Obviously, the Diana will be doing damage, but the Tristana is going to be the primary carry, so they definitely need her to kind of get ahead here. She has 1 kill, which is great for her. But you know, they want to. I'm hoping that Diana kind of pressures that bot lane and pushes that a little bit further ahead.
Yeah, see, Crimson having a lot of pressure on around the map, making ganks happen. And speaking of making ganks happen, he's in the mid lane. He does tag up the Mordekaiser, but Mordekaiser able to just walk away knowing he's not in any danger. Whereas Diana has mostly been full clearing. And even though she's been full clearing, she's been late to objectives as Leona and Tristana here want in. The flash comes out from Jinx. The Flay is going to dissuade any further attempts. And the hook will come out on top of Leona. Looks like we're going to pan to the top lane here. Thank you, directed camera. As Leona will get stunned up and it looks like neither party will die.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of a panic maybe engage there, or like a maybe she felt like she was kind of forced to do something. All of Thresh's abilities were up. You see a fight in the top lane. Oh, the Garen will flash the opposite way, thinking he could get the kill. He ignites with the directive camera once again.
Okay,
Switching
Crimson
from the
here
top.
just absolutely caught out alone though. The flash into the Zinzao ultimate is going to mean that he's going to get taken out, and the gold goes over to Diana. So important that the gold went that way. The TP was used for Mordekaiser to try and help the fight if it did go longer, but it looks like they're going to go against it as Wukong is here in the top lane. Jax there getting away with just a sliver of HP, a nice steal. And nice roam from Rao there, making sure that this Garen is not going to be able to get back into this, as another kill and the ability to push in the way for this Jax is going to put him so far ahead of this Garen.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened across the map there, so it looks like the Zinzao did die. But the Diana's a little greeting a little bit here, knowing
no.
Zinzao will be coming back. I think she should be able to get out from the blast cone here.
Oh.
Yep, she should be, but that was a bit of a greedy play. It gets away with it. We see the dragon will be spawning in 3 minutes here. The TP on the Jax's side should secure that for Dab Nation, and obviously the gold lead for them as well. We see CS differentials across the board really. Especially in the mid lane, this Mordekaiser is not having a fun time. Hasn't been able to kind of quite provide the impact so far, but definitely a champion that is still valuable later in the game.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see as, you know, Warlanders do have this kind of ending strategy where Damnation is all this physical damage, and they are not going to do much of any physical damage at all, just apart from this Thresh who just happens to do magic damage on some of his abilities. It is really easy for Warlanders to just stack armor, and if they are at an even point later in the game, it is going to be very hard for them. As unfortunately enough for them, the first dragon was Mountain Dragon, so they're not going to have a chance at that Mountain Soul, which would really benefit them. And it did go the way of Damnation as well, as the hook goes the way of Damnation as well. The engage is coming out. It is a 3v2 though. Tristana here getting baited in, jumps in, is not able to get the kill on top of this Jinx. She's going to be able to jump away though, as Leona here is going to be the member who is most likely going down. As she is going to get hooked, she is going to get flayed. Kern misses his W. The Jinx rocket fails as well. The flash coming out from Leona. No way she doesn't die. An absolute steal. Nice little escape there from Leona. And that is going to mean that, you know, Krim was bot side. He wasn't able to get anything. He got some flashes. But Diana's here on the top side getting the Rift Herald, and they want to fight this Jax here on the top side. Garen here wants to get the shutdown so much as he is going to get silenced and then immediately ult. And that's going to mean the Herald going the way of Worldlanders as well.
Yeah, a bit of a misplay there. Obviously, they knew that it was a 3v2 at Herald, but he decides to go in kind of solo, and knowing the Wukong had a wave in the mid lane that he couldn't just kind of abandon. Also, I think to point out earlier, as Thresh, you normally do not want to hook the Leona into your AD carry. You're giving her that extra range to E onto your AD carry. That was kind of the main difference there. The Zinzao wasn't quite at the fight yet. She hooked the Leona. Leona was able to get a free stun and free E onto the Jinx. And they almost got the kill. It was very close. So, you know, typically you don't want to do that unless you think it's a very free kill.
Yeah, and speaking of free kill here, Jax is potentially looking like he has one as the Ignite comes out. Diana will go on top of this Jax. Is going to be able to chunk him, but is not going to be able to take him out just yet. It looks like they may be waiting for the tower to reset. I see Diana here is pressuring this Jax off. He doesn't really have the ability to do anything, but Crimson, most importantly, is coming into this top lane. And it looks like the top tower will go the way of Worldlanders. They will be able to pick it up. And Jax here potentially baiting as 3 members of Damnation are walking. We are going to be able to see if something is going to happen. As Jax here goes in on top of this Diana, Diana will flash away. Leona is here on the top side, maybe a little bit of an unexpected consequence as she is going to stun up some members of Damnation, but it looks like it's not enough, and that will be a nice little 1 kill going the way of Damnation.
Yeah, once again, Worldlanders a little bit of miscommunication. It seems like I think they were all away. I think pretty much all of them could have escaped that, maybe minus the Diana, but they decide to maybe turn around the fight and kind of risked it a little bit there, knowing that they would lose. But they have kind of turned this game around a bit. The gold is a bit more even. The TP coming into the Mordekaiser, that if the Streshuk lands, he is dead. Yeah, it lands and a nice
Oh, a
rocket
nice
coming.
play for Mordekaiser there. Isolating only the Thresh, so he knows he pretty much has no chance of dying. Thresh here could go look for the hook, but it looks like it was on cooldown, so not able to get it. That's a nice little heads-up play. A lot of people just kind of panic ult whoever's closest to them, but isolating the Thresh does mean that you are not going to be able to get killed. And it looks like Damnation have kind of accepted that he wasn't going to die and have opted to turn for this dragon instead, the second dragon of the game. And it looks like we're going to see another Cloud Soul.
Yeah, inevitably, even if that play didn't work, the TP came down. The TPs come down to try to get the pick mid. They don't get it, but obviously, with the TP advantage, the Garen taking the ignite, they do have a free dragon. As I was saying before that happened, World Enders has kind of turned this gold lead around. They're still kind of down CS a little bit in some lanes, but they've turned it around to pretty much even taking advantage of some of DN's misplays in the Herald and in the bot side.
Yeah, as you can see, the members of Damnation here in the bot lane playing a little bit respectfully. Thresh, they're detaching from his support. Leona should see this as an opportunity to go in right now. She is going to decide against it. Shows out of the bush, but it's going to give it away. You can see the ping on top of the Krugs. Most likely from Crimson is telling his bot lane to take it, so that way he can reset the timer. As, you know, like you said, the gold lead, because of that top lane play, they were able to get, I believe, 4 plates and the first tower gold with that Rift Herald. It's just such a huge bonus to World Enders and did even out that gold lead and put them a little bit ahead. As Damnation here are doing their best to catch up. They are ahead 3 kills, but it looks like the gold is not particularly going their way.
Yeah, as you pointed out a few seconds ago, that was very frustrating to watch as a fellow support player to see the Leona not going in onto the Jinx there. She did not have cleanse up at the time, so that would have been a very, very free kill. At the very least, forcing the flash if it wasn't a kill. So I'd like to see if Leona gets a bit more aggressive here. Jax and Garen once again skirmishing in the top lane. Doesn't look like we get a kill out of this one. They will just kind of chunk each other around equal HP and then back away. Jax's tower is down. He has to be a bit careful. He has the ward kind of protecting himself in the back. Now Leona does force the flash in the bot lane. That will be really, really important. The ult misses. Jinx still does have the cleanse up, so they might not be able to make a play on her now, but forcing the flash on her is very, very huge for them.
Yeah, and that's really what you need to do as this Leona lane. You need to pressure this Jinx. You need to get the summoner spells off of her. So if she ever oversteps as you're coming into the Rift Herald in 2 minutes and the Dragon in 3 minutes, you're going to be able to catch her out and make sure that she does go down. And that's just going to be a free win for you guys in that team fight if you're able to do that. As the Ignite comes out, we can see both of these players fighting in the top lane. Jax here just absolutely outclassed. The burst from Garen, a little bit insane. Even I didn't expect that as he gets a nice little free kill. Jax was ahead, but it looks like the gold is starting to even out and maybe even leading in Garen's favor.
Yeah, as you know, Garen always does a nice little surprising amount of damage. He does have his the zeal now, as long as long he has a zeal and his attack speed boost now. That's what I was trying to say. So obviously he's going for a little bit of a cheeky build coming up. And he does do a lot of damage, so those Jax probably will not be able to fight him for a considerable amount of time.
Yeah, and speaking of the gold, you can see it is now starting to grow even more and more in favor of this World Ender squad. Sitting at around 1.5k gold ahead. We'll have to see if they can be able to elevate it more. Made good use of the Rift Herald last time in order to increase it, as the Thresh Hook will ultimately... Oh, never mind. He goes in. I'm not sure about this one, as he's just going to get absolutely stunned up and deleted. As Crimson here could potentially be the next victim. Looks like they're going to decide against it, and a little bit of over-aggression there from Thresh is going to get rightly punished.
Yeah, the problem here right now for Damnation is that once again they're all AD. Once these armor start stacking, they're gonna start doing very little damage. Especially the Jinx, she's gonna be hitting for peanuts on some of these people if everyone is stacking armor. So ideally they want to try to end this game, as quickly as they can to not prevent the scaling to happen.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately for Damnation, they do have 2 dragons to their name already. With a 3rd dragon spawning in 1 minute, they do have the potential soul into Elder victory. But in these fights, the gold is close enough that yes, Damnation are at a disadvantage, but they're still going to be able to compete in these fights. The item advantage is not too large just yet. As you can see, both Garen and Mordekaiser just kind of bought those Bramble vests and are sitting on them, as they have opted into other items for their first main build. I think that might be a Dead Man's Plate coming out from Garen. We'll have to see how it goes, as Garen tends to build a lot of random things these days, so we'll have to see what he does opt to go for. Dragon is spawning in a minute. The Rift Herald is up as well. The members of World Enders are resetting, getting ready to contest for a nice little synchronized reset from them. And that's going to mean they're going to be able to get a lot of vision control on this river.
Jinx farming up here. Ideally, she wants that mythic item complete before this dragon starts. That'll be a kind of like a pretty sizable power spike. She actually might have it right here. backing
Yeah,
with
she
1,000
will.
gold. She will have it here. So that'll make this dragon fight a lot more even. She does obviously go for the Kraken. And then the only other person left right now is the Mordekaiser. He's yet to finish it because he elected to go for the armor and then obviously the tabbies first. So he won't have his, but for this fight, but everyone else will have their mythic items ready.
Yeah. Well, apart from Garen as well, who opted to go for a legendary item just to catch you there, as he did go for the Dead Man's
Oh,
Plate. That
true, he
is
did
going
go
to
for
help
Dead Man's
him.
Plate.
As the TP comes out, Leona here going so far into the backline, she's isolated off from her team as Wukong just gets free entrance into the backline and is doing a lot of damage. Members, the kill is going both ways as the supports get taken out. Diana forced to flash away. The double flash from Damnation is going to mean a kill for them, but Crimson immediately gets taken out. It's a 3 for 3 currently, but Wukong is here trying to do his best to do damage as they're trying to get on top of this Tristana, but off to take the Mordekaiser instead. Now it's a 2v2. Tristana alone wants to get this kill. It's going to use the ultimate, isn't able to get it, and now it's a 2v1, but this Garen is so strong still, does not have the ultimate, does not have flash. He could look to fight this potentially, but he will need to wait, and if he waits, Thresh will get here first. As we can see, both of these teams just sitting here, not really doing anything, potentially looking to do another 5v5 when all 5 members get back. As they heard me talking, and now they're just going to immediately hop on top of the dragon. Diana is here, out of base, but she will not be here in time to smite this dragon, so this should be a nice little dragon going the way of Damnation. But you can see the gold difference is still firmly in the direction of World Enders with a 1k gold lead. Shrunk a little bit because of that fight, but nothing too bad. But with that soul point, that does mean Damnation has the potential to try and get that soul and try and get the Elder forthcoming.
Yeah, that skirmish was a bit all over the place. The Jinx actually was pretty safe that most of that fight. She was able to get some rockets off, but she wasn't really able to be in there auto attacking a lot. She got maybe just a handful of them off, and that kind of was the difference in that fight. She was left alone, but she wasn't able to get that much damage off. Meanwhile, that fight was very split. The Leona went in one way, and there wasn't too much follow up with her. Meanwhile, there was a kind of 2-3 separate fights going on there, and it was kind of a 0 for 0. Obviously it ended up in the favor of Damnation just because they had the one extra member and the Garen wasn't really able to dissuade the two people from taking dragon, but we end up kind of back to even. They are one dragon away from soul. It's not what the soul they wanted, but any soul is a soul.
Yeah, and the soul importantly opens up the opportunity for the Elder if you want to try and use that as a win condition, as it doesn't matter if you can't really hit the enemy team and they are all stacking armor, as that Elder soul, or the Elder passive I should say, will give you that true damage that ticks away at the opponent. So it's a nice little buff to you, especially if you're a character like Jinx, that will help you deal with these armor stacking carries, as we'll probably see Lord Dominic's come out from a lot of the members of Damnation. Most likely this Jinx, we'll have to see what the other members are off to, but they are going to need some armor penetration as this game does go longer.
Yeah, absolutely. As Poseidon pointed out in the chat earlier, this Jinx should be, going Lord Dominic's Druid's second item, considering, all this armor stacking going on. Leona has armor, the Diana has armor, the Garen and the Mordekaiser both. And as you pointed out, the Mordekaiser did finish his Riftmaker, which will be, nice to have for him in this upcoming fight here. Thresh once again, potentially getting caught out.
Okay, as Thresh just gets absolutely deleted, the exhaust coming out way too late already after the burst has come out, and the spam pings coming out. All 5 members of Woodenders running towards this Baron. We'll have to see if we're going to be able to get it. As Wukong is sitting here in the bot lane, does not have the TP available. Jax will be going into the top lane. We'll have to see if they're going to be smart enough to catch out this Baron. As they did spot them on the board, the pings are coming out, Crimson is moving up, and they're just going to immediately hop on, and all 5 members are looking to burn this.
Yeah, you normally don't see teams start a Baron after just a pick on the support, but they're very confident in they're fighting without the Thresh. The Thresh is respawning. He won't be able to get here in time. This is going to be an uncontested Baron. The Jinx ult gets blocked. Very smart play there from the Leona, knowing that the Jinx ult would be sent in to block that.
Yeah, and there's a nice little Baron there for World Enders, and when you're able to get that Baron, the game firmly goes in the pace that you want it to go. They're going to have a lot of priority over these lanes. They can decide how aggressively they want to push, but if you're World Enders, all you really need to do is stall out this game, get some more armor on your characters, and then at that point, Damnation can't even do enough damage to really hurt you guys. So we'll have to see what their plan is coming out of the base with this Baron. But it's a nice little play for them in order to hold the lead.
Yeah, once again, this is going to push their lead quite a bit here. The Garen does have a lot of split pushing power. I don't think the Wukong or the Jax could match him in a 1v1 at the moment. So he will just kind of have free reign in the bottom lane. He doesn't have TP, which is, once again, a bit of an issue. But, with the Ignite, he'll probably be able to 1v1. They're going to have to send 2 people down to fight him. As we look to Xin Zhao and the Wukong here, they might look to try to do something. But he's going to be very hard to kill. He has his Phage now as well. So Looks like he will just have a permanent prio on the bot lane with the Baron. Phantom Dancer coming out for the Tristana, another big power spike there. She's going to be doing a lot of damage. As we see, the Jinx is electing not to go for armor penetration right away. She's grabbing the QSS as a kind of second cleanse.
It's,
Delaying that quite a bit, which is kind of interesting.
yeah, it's an interesting pickup as well as you don't really have much to cleanse inside of this game. Like, I guess you want to use the QSS to stop the Mordekaiser from ulting you, but Mordekaiser should never be able to reach you with your team composition. So it's an interesting choice, especially as the Lord Dominix has so much value inside of this game against an armor stacking enemy team that they'll have to see how much damage Jinx is going to be doing inside of these fights and how she's looking to position it. It looks like now that Damnation really are trying to walk around trying to get vision. They don't really want to take a fight 5v5 currently. They want to look for these split push plays. As Thresh here goes fishing, is not able to get anything, but Woodenders have found theirs. As the TP comes out, the flash comes out. As all members of Damnation are able to get away, the TP was cast from Mordekaiser, not able to get too much, but the flash and cleanse from the Jinx and the flash from the Thresh means a nice little net positive there for Woodenders.
Yeah, this Thresh is continuously kind of maybe overstepping his bounds, once again getting a little caught out. He's 0-4. Rocket's not been having a fun time. They've constantly been trying to engage on him as they're pushing in right now to just take control of his jungle. I don't think Damnation can pick a fight here, and they might have to just give this dragon up.
Yeah,
But
the
yeah,
only
go
ultimate
ahead.
used outside of the only ultimate used on the side of Woodenders was that Leona ultimate, and it's going to be back up very shortly. And Thresh was forced to use the box as well, so Woodenders here having the advantage. They're going to pull the dragon out to make sure that this dragon is secure, as Crimson here is just sitting, looking like he's trying to go for a play, but he's going to decide against it, as the members of Damnation are just going to go back to their lanes and go back to farming.
Yeah, another kind of perplexing thing is the Wukong also opted to take the Quicksilver Sash. We were going to have a pause here. Uh,
And it looks like
on
Crimson disconnected, so that might have explained why he was standing still for a little bit after the dragon had already been taken. So we'll have to see how long it's going to take, but we are going to switch over to this screen in order to make sure, nothing fishy is going to happen, as we are going to wait for the players to come back. But the game so far has been pretty exciting. It's been very evenly matched. Both of these teams making a back and forth and trying to make something happen on both sides. Woundeders fortunately taking the advantage so far and are able to have the game in such a commanding position and their direction. They're only up 2.5k gold, but they do have the tempo advantage. It looks like they're winning a lot of these plays even if the deaths aren't coming through, so it is very nice for them. We'll have to see how they're looking to close out this game, as the game is getting longer and they are able to pick up more armor items and the members of Damnation are able to do less and less damage, and we'll have to see how they're looking to rectify this as we are go ahead and getting back in the game. Looks like Crimson was able to get back in time, as there we go. As we are going to go ahead and get back, as the game is going to do the nice little freeze that it does after a pause. Don't worry, this is pretty normal. It'll just take a couple seconds for it to get back and sync back up with the spectator delay, so that way the weak client knows what's going on. But like we were talking about, so Damnation here just firmly on the back foot, having to play super reactively to everything Warlanders is doing. Meanwhile, Warlanders are able to look for plays, force out the flashes from the members of Damnation, and really have the tempo advantage.
Yeah, as I was saying a couple seconds ago, we have another QSS. Mord can only ult one of you guys. It doesn't really make sense why both members have it. This is delaying a lot of potentially important items from in this game. I think this might, it's not going to be the game-losing decision to buy this item, but this is, they're not going to have important items for these fights upcoming.
Yeah, and we can see a lot of struggling out here for Crimson, as Diana is just permanently in his jungle, crip walking, stealing away his camps. It is unfortunate for him, as he is going to fall further and further behind. He did pick up the Wits End second item, so we'll have to see how that works out for him. As Baron spawning in 2 minutes with Dragon spawning in 4, it'll be interesting to see which objective Damnation are looking to fight for, because right now it just looks like they're firmly on the back foot, being dragged around the map by Worldenders and not really having a say in where they want to go.
Yeah, we can see World Enders has had some pretty strong vision control once these objectives come up. Right now, obviously, the words were expiring on reset, but it looks like they are going to try to push in as the smite comes out for the Diana to take the scuttle once again, denying Crim the Skull Crab.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there for Crimson. Oh man, at least I can get the Scuttle Crab, as Diana just walks around the bush. A little bit slow to react. Diana just casting the smite immediately, suspecting that Crimson was on top of it, and is able to get it. As you can see, the pings coming out from Woodenders, potentially looking to go for another aggressive play, as they are clearing out the vision and getting ready to look for something. As Thresh here is forced to retreat, and a lot of the vision he placed going down as well.
Yeah, we can see the Garen recalling, getting ready for this Baron coming up in a minute. He was gonna go down, maybe push the wave and then head up top, just to make sure he's there for that. Um, we don't have TPs up for. Oh, we do have TPs up actually for the Wukong and the Jax. So we'll see what Dab Nation decide to do with their two members here.
Yeah, as we can see the armor stacking continuing to come out, especially from this Mordekaiser. Side on the Bramble, best side on the Tabbies, and now has the arm guard component of the Zhonya's, means he is going to get a lot of extra armor. As, yep, we all know there was recalling of the ward, but realizes her mistake. And we'll have to see if Dab Nation are going to be able to push their vision up should anything happen, as Leona here could have got caught out, but Krim not knowing enough information to really go for it does mean that Warlanders are going to get a safe reset, as Leona here has her reset staggered so much she's going to be a little bit behind, but it shouldn't matter too much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, Garen just finishing his Divine Surrender. As you mentioned earlier, he opted to go for the Dead Man's Plate first to kind of get that armor up. But now he does have the Divine Surrender. He's going to be such a menace to deal with. Clearing the vision here, pushing the bot lane, and now he's going to be walking up to the Baron spawning in 20 seconds.
Yeah, we see Krim spotted that ward but wasn't able to clear it, and unfortunately for him, he's going to walk over another ward. Just Woodlanders having complete control over the map and knowing where the members of Dab Nation are. Diana here really going forward is going to take away the Wolves. I'm not sure who got the smite on that. It looks like Crimson had potentially gotten it since it was that blue smite, as the members of Dab Nation are going to go ahead and retreat back down into their blue side jungle, and the members of Woodlanders are pinging this Baron, but it looks like they want to bait it. They want to try and pull Dab Nation over here and force the fight. As it looks like Dab Nation here smartly realizing that it is not the play. As they see them off the Baron, they shouldn't look for these fights, and we can see waves dropping across the map. LS is crying in his bed right now, as the members of Warlanders are going to be walking backwards. Looks like Dab Nation got the priority for this one so far, but they are going to go back to the waves and start farming back up again, as Dab Nation here are just going to clear out the vision while they are here, and make sure that Warlanders aren't going to be able to sneak another Baron on top of them.
Yeah, this is the power of the teleport. You know, they pushed out all three lanes. The bot lane is crashing right now. They're losing a ton of gold here on the side of World Enders, and they gave up the the Baron Prow. They seemed, you know, they wanted to pick a fight, but once Dab Nation knew, they decided to back off. We will see if they try to push in again. The Diana's going to walk in, and she's going to get caught out. We'll see if they can try to get a kill on her. The ult comes in, the Zhonya's comes in, the Wukong in there with the ulti. What is going on right now? The Jinx in the backline getting some autos off. She's able to get the complete autos off. 3 members dead from the side of World Enders, but this Garen is a monster. He's gonna take them all down. They're gonna get this Baron for free, and they're gonna be getting the dragon, as this Jinx will go down here, pops the cleanse.
Oh, and Garen just chasing her down. She has no escape. As unfortunate enough for Dab Nation, it looks like Warlanders are not going to immediately hop on top of this Baron. They're going to push this mid wave, as Garen and Leona will look towards this dragon and try and pick up that second dragon and keep it away from Dab Nation. So the doors are not closed just yet, but a bad fight, and we see the itemization coming out for Jinx. You know, she had that Phantom Dancer instead of the Lord Dominix, and because of that she was just tickling Garen and all the other members of World Enders and not really able to put out the damage that she needs to, and that ultimately ended up costing them the fight. As that was that 3v3 in the end there. Jinx, you expected to do huge damage at that point, but because of the armor stacking wasn't able to do too much.
Yeah, this obviously who's surprised the 3 members alive are the 3 armor stacking titans here with the Leona, the Mordekaiser, and the Garen. As we were talking about earlier, she needs the
no one saw it.
Zanya's, the stopwatch going down for the Mordekaiser. Interesting. The observer was there to see that one, but obviously, as I was saying, she's trolling. She needs the Lord Dominic's regard. No one on this team has it. She needs this item. You know, they have the wit's end on 2 members right now, but where's the armor penetration? Please, Jinx, buy this.
Yeah, even with the wit's end as well, like you noticed, Diana had gotten caught out, was half HP, cast her ultimate before going into the zones, and did a nice little chunk on top of, I think, 3 or 4 members of Dab Nation. So it was a little hard for them, as Garen here decides he wants to go in on top of his Wukong. Wukong forced to blow the ultimate, does not want the smoke, as Diana just completely obliterates this Jinx. Bye-bye. As Garen here is trying to do his best to obliterate this Wukong. Wukong here just very depressed, as he is going to get ultimate, the sword from the sky going to take him out, and Warlanders almost certainly are going to be able to take this Baron.
Yeah, this looks like this will be the game here now. Like we were talking about earlier, they needed to kind of get ahead early, because once this armor starts stacking, once, you know, this Garen is a menace. He's unkillable. He 1v1s everyone in this game. He just spins to win. I don't know how they're gonna stop him. They're gonna have to send 3-4 members down here to kill him. Like this Xin Zhao's not gonna do anything
Oh
there.
no. As just tickling the Garen, and Garen here throwing out a little bit of emotes. I think you're allowed to at this point in the game. Just having such a strong champion against Damnation's composition, it means that they're not going to be able to do much to you. As you can see, Crimson has been stuck on this 2-item build. He's been stuck on Gore Drinker and the Wit's End for probably the past 5 or 7 minutes or so. And it has just been really choked out of the game, not really able to get too much farm as Diana has been skyrocketing forward. And Jinx here stepping too far forward. The ultimate is going to come out. And oh my god,
Oh
just
my
gets absolutely deleted. And I think at that point, Jinx might just sit back in the chair and realize that the game is probably over at this point.
Yeah, she popped that QSS there. How useful was that, Jinx, that QSS you had there? I'm not sure that was very useful. Diana one-shotting her. This looks like this probably is going to be the game here. Jinx is dead for 30 seconds. They should just be able to take everything down.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not. I don't suspect there's anything that Damnation can do to stop this. Is Garen once again just a fiend, taking all these towers down.
I'm not sure I particularly like this play from Warlanders. They could have gone for the end with Jinx dead for another 10 seconds. Looks like they're playing a little bit safer, giving a little respect over to the side of Damnation. They are up 10k gold, but they are not aware of that. And it looks like they're going to reset and go for a little bit more of a defined play as the Dragon is up in 2 minutes. They do have the top and bot inhib down, so there's a lot of free pressure for them. And it looks like now their goal is going to be this mid inhib.
Yeah, as we can see here, though, even if you look at the CS discrepancy between in the mid lane, 245 to 159, it just doesn't mean anything just because he's so tanky, and especially the team he's playing into. It doesn't really mean anything for the Mordekaiser to be that far behind. His itemization is just so much stronger into the full kind of AD team here of Damnation, and at this point, it's a little bit hopeless. There is the dragon spawning in, I believe, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I guess they could try to go for the soul somehow, but once again, like we said, this isn't the soul they needed. If it was Infernal Soul, if it was Mountain Soul, it might be able to help them. But with this gold lead and just getting the Cloud Drake, it won't mean anything.
Yeah, just getting the soul will mean that you need to extend the game for as long as possible and try and just coin flip Elder and go for a fight that way. So the Ono ultimate comes out, the TP comes out, and Thrasher just kicked into the backline after we deleted Wukong here in backline, getting deleted by this Tristana. And it's 3 members dead of Damnation, and that is going to send their wishes to winning this game down, as Krim is the only member alive stuck in the death realm. Looks like he is going to get away for now, but with 1 member against 5, it's almost certainly no way he can hold this.
Yeah, this looks like this will be GG here. As much as Krim tried to delay because of his traffic, it looks like it won't delay the result of this game. As a very, very nice mid to end game here for World Enders will take down Damnation, and they go to, I believe they're 3-2 now.
Yeah, 3-2.
3-2 now.
Someone did leave the game early, so we did get that amazing bug once again. But due to the scheduling right now, we are going to hold off on the interviews. Damnation and World Enders are both playing later today, so we'll have to see what they think about in their later games. We'll hold off on the interviews until after their games versus the Akatsuki. We will be going ahead and getting out of here. Stu and Who will be clocking out. We'll have Poseidon and Dewey clocking in, getting these World Enders versus Akatsuki, and then Damnation versus Akatsuki later today. So we might have a little bit of downtime, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back very short.